The inner temple is your fortress of solitude, kind of like Superman has his fortress of solitude. The inner temple exercise will allow you to make contact with the innermost regions of your mind, parts of your mind that you normally, in your day-to-day life, don't come into contact with because you're dominated by Luna, your conscious mind, during the hustle, if you will, of the day-to-day life, the grind, right? The inner temple cannot be underestimated. It is absolutely crucial. It is a fundamental foundation of what I teach here on this channel. Now, Philip Cooper is how I discovered the inner temple, but there's Rosicrucian orders, there's multiple magical orders and groups, etc., that have been doing the inner temple or a similar exercise long before Philip Cooper produced his first book. So it's not something that Philip necessarily should be given credit for, although I do give credit where it's due, but it's not like he invented this. So I've taken the basic rubric of what Cooper teaches about the inner temple, which is hardly anything, and I'll explain that in a minute, and I've created a system that is so fluent and so effective, an inner temple exercise, and I really need to rename it because it's more of a cathedral of the mind. And I plan on producing a course which will be available soon, hopefully by the end of the month, that you can purchase. That'll probably be 4 or 5 hours long, where I walk you through the inner temple. I explain all of it, how it works, etc. I've made my own system. When Philip Cooper talks about the inner temple, it's in a very fleeting manner. If you read The Magician, if you read The Inner Temple of Magic, if you read some of his other books, he explains the inner temple. He doesn't really go into great detail about the health benefits of it, though, and he doesn't really write that much about it. In fact, if you read The Magician, there's only a couple paragraphs about the inner temple, and it does not go into great detail about just how expansive it is, folks. So I've spent hundreds, I shit you not, hundreds and hundreds of hours in my inner temple. There were times where I'd spend 4 or 5 hours in it at once, laying on a couch, traveling the inner portions of my mind and learning from myself and with myself. It is so absolutely crucial, ladies and gentlemen. You can deny it, you can act like it's not necessary, but it absolutely is, because we need a system of self-communication, a legitimate system of self-communication, because here's the thing, contrary to widespread and popular belief, people talk to themselves constantly. There is an internal dialogue operating behind your conscious recognition that dictates your thoughts during the day while you're awake, your emotions, you name it. And most people will go their whole life never realizing this. You are hearing a stream of thoughts in your head, and you're feeling a stream of emotions move through your emotional body that you think you're generating while you're awake. No. The thoughtlessness exercise will prove this to you, because you can sit back and observe your own thoughts, or the thoughts, while you're doing the thoughtlessness exercise, as if you're watching a stream. You're the observer of the thoughts, not the thoughts. So you have to ask yourself, what the fuck are these thoughts that I'm thinking? Where are they coming from? Why do I keep feeling the way that I feel? Most people will go their whole life thinking that the inner dialogue and chatter that they hear on a constant daily basis, they're producing in the form of thoughts. No, this is the Archon. I call it the Archon, the internal dialogue, because the internal dialogue ends up steering your life. It leads you to make decisions. It controls you. The inner temple is a system that we use to purge that nonsense out of us. And so is the thoughtlessness exercise, because when you do the thoughtlessness exercise properly, you will do when you do the thoughtlessness exercise, you sit motionless and you try to empty your mind of all thoughts. You try to enter into a state of thoughtlessness. And what happens when you do that, if you do it properly, you come into contact with the internal dialogue. That internal dialogue is controlling your life. I call it the Archon. These are foreign installations that need to be removed if you plan on regaining some of your mental sovereignty. Absolutely essential. Magic is a system of tools that we use to locate those foreign installations, the internal dialogue, and systematically, like a surgeon, remove them like cancers from a body. Once you get proficient at the inner temple, once you get proficient in the 4 exercises, you'll be able to, at any point in time, enter the inner temple even when your eyes are open. I'm in mine right now, talking to you with my eyes open. The inner temple will teach you visualization skills. It'll also teach you to trust yourself and your own inner wisdom, your own inner lamp. How many of you have an inner lamp here? This is a chaotic matrix grid, a very sophisticated mind control hologram that we're living in, folks. You need a system of self-communication. You need a system of interconnection with your own self and your body and your mind. The inner temple and the four exercises are just that.
I can't help but ask myself daily, what the fuck is actually going on here? I have witnessed so many radical changes to this world in the 32 years that I have been here, most of them sadly drenched in evil. The enemy is busy building its empire, a dystopia built upon the ashes of a free world forgotten. AI, surveilled, digitized, genocide, scorched earth, hive mind, drone. We are being led by demons, masquerading as our saviors, an iniquitous oligarchy composed largely, but not entirely, of an elite class of psychopathic technocrats, eugenicists, behavioral psychologists, etc. Operating entirely through subterfuge, this consortium of evil has created a most genius veil of camouflage, enabling them to quite literally pose as a knight in shining armor coalition of humanity's saviors, promising to liberate the masses from the very afflictions that this inner circle of evil gave birth to. Ephesians 6:12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places.